Yeah, so a very good evening, everyone. On behalf of ISTT Delhi chapter, I welcome you all to this very special evening talk. And today we have with us Dr. R.K. Suri, who's the chief psychologist and mentor in his organization called Talk to Angels. What a beautiful name, Talk to Angels. So he will be sharing his thoughts on today's very relevant topic, mental wellness in workplace. So, friends, nowadays many employees are quitting their job due to adverse impact, on their mental health. And during the time at work, the employees often face issues like stress and anxiety, depression, etc. And today, especially, during after the pandemic, mental health challenges are being faced by any other employee, at some point of the other. So many workplace factors affect our mental health of employees. It could be, poor communication practices. It could be work pressure and many others. So companies have started recognizing mental health challenges faced by their employees, and they have started investing more in providing support to them. But still, we have a long way to go. So to address these issues, we have with us Dr. Suri, who will be sharing his thoughts with us on various strategies that the employer can use to address the mental health issues in the workplace. So before we move further, I would request our chapter vice chairperson, Mr. D.V. Shastri, to welcome our speaker and our guests. So Shastri sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Namaskar and a very good evening to all of you. Our beloved and respected chairman, Mr. Mukesh Jain, today's esteemed speaker, Dr. Radesh Suri, the members of managing committee, Madam Sucharita, our program coordinator, Madam Pritimaji, and all the esteemed and respected members of the society. As Pritima Madam rightly said, that it is very important to uh, focus on mental wellness of the employees at workplace, because as we say, health is not only confined to body. It is integrated approach to health, that body, mind and spirit, if all are in harmony and all are in good health, then only a person can be said to be healthy in true sense. And that is what has been emphasized in our Indian culture also. The Patanjali's Yoga Darshan also speaks of that. So, and it has become more relevant in today's time because COVID has made it worse. But even prior to COVID, in today's hectic world where the things are very complex and very rapid changes are there, and the families and social structure is also changing, so it is leading to various kinds of mental problems. And the unfortunate thing in our country is that if somebody is not mentally well, people attach a stigma to it, like, for example, depression, anxiety, etc. These are the mental diseases. But if somebody says that he or she is suffering, then it is, related with some stigma. So it is not correct. Just like we have a physical wound somewhere and we do its treatment, so same way the psychological illnesses can also be addressed. But the best thing is that such things should not happen at all. So it is in this context that we are going to listen to the views of uh, our expert, Dr. Radesh Suri, who is also, doing a great service to the society through his organization, Talk to Angel. So, with these words, I welcome all of you to this session, and over to Pritimaji for
Thank
inviting the
you.
speaker.
Thank you very much, Shastri Saab. So before I invite Dr. Suri, I would, request Sucharita ji to, introduce the speaker formally.
Thank you, Pritima ma'am. I am glad to introduce Dr. R.K. Suri, clinical psychologist. Dr. R.K. Suri, ex-director RGIPT, former VC, Monad University, ex-project director, IIM Shillong. Dr. R.K. Suri is a trained professional, chartered clinical psychologist, having more than 36 years of experience in hypnotherapy, psychoanalysis, neuropsychological assessment, career counseling, relationship management. He has been providing career counseling globally and has been providing counseling at IITs, IIMs, SPAs for admission to universities in the US, UK, Australia, etc. Relationship management for persons to provide the breakthrough in life. Internationally recognized in the field of cognitive neuropsychology and brain neuroplasticity, and has highly specialized in the field of learning disabilities. Dr. Suri is a leading relationship psychologist and sexologist. Dr. Suri is a highly respected professional in the field of cognitive behavior therapy and cognitive hypnotherapy, which combines gradual hypnosis with CBT. He is also an expert in the neuro-linguistic program. He is also qualified in logotherapy developed by neurologist and psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, a survivor of the Holocaust of World War II. Logotherapy combines Freudian psychoanalysis and Aldrian individual therapy, and clients are able to overcome mental health issues without medication. Depression, urban loneliness, sadness, and mental well-being will be the greatest challenge in the coming years, and in his opinion, crucial and should not be ignored. This can be remediated with the correct guidance and therapy. And he encourages everyone not to suppress feelings, but seek out help, which can be provided with extreme confidentiality. Grief counseling, when a loved one passes on from this world and is ignored in India, is another aspect he believes should be delicately handled with appropriate therapy, and he encourages clients to come forward for assistance to overcome with this sad period. Dr. Suri was the first traffic psychologist of India, was instrumental in setting up Psycho Assessment Center for Special Protection Group, set up than PM Sri Rajiv Gandhi. Professor Suri is the acclaimed motivational guru for positive thinking, attitude, and behavior. He has provided career counseling to more than 20,000 students in more than 15 countries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sucharita ji. Thanks.
And one more thing. Nowadays, many employees are quitting their jobs due to the adverse impact on their mental health. During the time at work, the employees often face issues like stress, anxiety, depression, etc. These constitute the mental health challenges that one faces at the workplace. Mental health challenges are being faced by every other employee at some point or the other. The employees are aware about the challenges that they are facing and disclose it as well. Young workers, and especially those belonging to underrepresented groups like the LGBTQ, suffer the most. From the year 2019, the employers started to recognize the mental challenges of employees and addressing the stigma. With the time, progress has been made look into the challenges and that the employees face. And in today's time, greater awareness is being spread from about the workplace factors that can impact the mental health of the employees. Many workplace factors affect mental health of the employees, like the poor communication practices and work pressure. Companies have started recognizing the prevalence of mental health challenges in the workplace and have started investing in more providing mental health support to the employees. Some have even started working on the cultural front. However, they have not been able to cover all dimensions, and still there is a long way to go.
Thank you so much, Sucharita ji. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. The introduction is done.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And I welcome Dr. Suri once again. And over to you, Dr. Suri. You could continue till 6:45, 50, and then we can have a Q&A.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Right?
So it's a 6:11. Hello, am I audible?
You are.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Pratima ji. Thank you, Mukesh ji. Thank you, Shastri ji, and all the August gathering who are there. I'm really privileged to be there with all of you. I'll make some little attempt in terms of my understanding of the wellness, mental wellness, and would deliberate with you. It will be more of, I prefer a more of interactive session. That's why I don't want to keep the PPTs. And anytime you can stop me, it will be my privilege to be stopped and have a conversation. हम लोग बातचीत में ज्यादा विश्वास रखते हैं. कोई भी बात से बात बन जाती है और बात से समस्या का समाधान हो जाता है. It's a old age statements. When we talk about mental wellness, it is not constituting disability. It is devoid of disability. It is devoid of disorder. It is devoid of distress. Mental wellness is a complete subjective well-being of an individual. Now, WHO says that health is not merely an absence of a disease or infirmity, but complete 5 elements. First, physical health, यानी कि हमारी भूमि, earth element. दूसरा, it says economic element, financial elements, which means gagan. You can reach to the skies. Third element is your social health, which means sambandh, khushbu, and this is vayu. Third one is agni or psychological health. Agni or psychological health. Psychological health is just like a fire. If you are having something wrong going on in your mind, it creates ripples in yourself and ripples in everybody. If something positive is going on in your mind, you create, you build, you create. तो ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश का समीकरण इस अग्नि से प्रवाहित होता है. तो creation, destruction, all comes from the mind. And the fifth one is your spiritual well-being, which means neer, jal. Now, I have tried to put the synthesis of the Indian philosophy along with the modern medicine practices for defining mental wellness and mental well-being. हमारे 5 शरीर के 5 तत्व हैं और उसी तरीके से 5 डायमेंशंस हेल्थ की हैं. अगर जो किसी एक में भी हमारे को डिफिकल्टी है, उसका इम्पैक्ट दूसरे एलिमेंट में आता है. Now, when we talk about workplace, work is a health. Work itself is a healthy habit. If work means an activity, composition of activities which are spread over tasks. All tasks are integrated with the team, with the leadership, with the performance and productivity. When there is a dismantle in terms of the teams not adhering to the work and getting impacted in terms of the health. Now, overburden of those activities or conflict in the activities itself of the work creates an imbalance into the health of an individual, his family, and the company per se or enterprise per se. Now, when we talk about creating a good leader, creating a good team, we have to have a unit of an individual, which is very important. If all the minds are sinking, then only corporate productivity is enhanced. If one of the mind is going in a negative direction, it takes lots and lots of time in terms of plugging it. The other important elements is that the one negative energy in any organization needs to be unlearned and relearned with the positive energies. Now, all those requires a perspective in terms of developing a healthy work environment or work culture. The work culture or the organizational culture is determined by the top management in terms of creating a ethos, value system. The organization values and individual values has to have a combination and convergence. If the individual values are not matching with the organizational values, it causes disturbances. Now, during the last year, that is 2020, has been a great learning year for all of us across the globe. The boundaries of the work with the home get dissipated on account of the sudden requirements of being confided. You might be having a 10 cars, you might be having a 10 bungalows, etc. Then you confine to a 6x6 or 10x10 room, and then whole thing came down to your palm or your laptop or your mobile. Mobility was absolutely gone, and the connect was only with the mobile, and you were having a lots of, we all were having a lot of fear. Now fear was creating a lot of havoc in terms of managing the family and managing the work. The boundaries in terms of 9 to 7, 9 to 6, 9 to 5 has gone away, creating a challenge in terms of the work-life balance amongst the people. As a result, because you were secluded, social relationship were disturbed, more domestic violence came in. The depression increased. Mental health impacted the three important areas. One was the stress, another was anxiety, and the depression. The depression has impacted and provided the loss of $1 trillion in the economy globally. And globally, the impact might have been much, much wider. It is still a debatable issue, how much has been the impact of the pandemic on the mental health of an individual. Now, mental health, when we talk, as I mentioned, that there are 5 components, and it starts from a continuum of wellness or well-being to a distress, to a disorder and disability. Now, no one wants disability or dependence on anyone, whether it is an economic dependency or social dependency, but we all look forward for positive coexistence, positive collaboration, connectivity. Now, during the pandemic, the various areas which had impacted was, first and foremost, was the economy. Economy was badly hit. People have started losing their jobs, or job role itself was dissipated. The job which was frontline workers were so much impacted. The healthcare, mental health professionals were all impacted on account of providing the services. As a result, more violence was reported in the domestic violence, more domestic violence cases were being reported. And the losses of the job were also, many people were fired, many people have decided to move on to their home and leave the premises. Many of the premises were closed in almost all the metropolitan cities, and people started going back to villages to provide. One of the few things which has provided opportunity in terms of the pandemic has been with reference to the tech-based companies like fintech, edtech, and the health tech companies. One of the things which is also again very important, and today the WHO has also been talking about that, is the making health as a fundamental right. Now, till date, majority of the countries, even the richest of the richest, do not have health as a fundamental right. What to talk about in India? Unless until we do not take care of our health, money has no value. So health has to be made a fundamental right, and then only the health for all, the goals of health for all, which has been promised by the WHO and UN, is to be achieved, then only we have to have a health as a fundamental right. So these are the missing links. Now, these missing links needs to be solved, resolved. In an organization, people were reporting about the sudden challenges which were coming on account of losses, which we call the grief. Whenever business loses, whenever a person loses a business, a job, it is a stress. But grief comes when you have a larger loss, which you find is not repairable in a shorter span of time. Losing some family member on account of pandemic has produced a lot of grief, sorrow. Now, when it comes to grief, there are 4 elements in the grief. The first is a shock and denial. When the pandemic started showing its tantrum, everybody was into shock. No, this cannot happen. I cannot be a victim of COVID. It is not going to happen to me. It will happen to somebody else. So the standard protocols which were being prescribed by many were not being adhered by some of the people. That's the one thing. Once this takes place, the other component after the denial, shock, then there's a reaction, which is aggression or agitation. Why the government has done this? Why I have not been allowed to go to the workplace, or why I'm being made into captivity? What is the need for this captivity? I can do much better. The third stage of the grief management comes is a depression. You feel that you are no one to take care of yourself. You started losing sleep, you started losing appetite, you started losing interest in the things which you were liking in the past. Now, all these are the symptoms of depression. The cardinal principles of depression, symptoms of depressions and signs of depressions are: you lose an interest, and that interest loss in the libido, energy, weight loss, or weight gain, excessive weight gain, or sleep, that comes in the form of a depression. After a certain time, once the grief has stuck to you or your family, you try to manage by self-care, you try to manage by the people, social connectivity, social support system, by either now during the pandemic, people were not able to perform the rites, people were not able to meet people. So the social connectivity was coming through the tech-based support system, which means the Zoom. Everybody was Zooming with the Zoom or other Google Meet, Team, Microsoft Team, etc. And many of the applications has started pouring in terms of providing a live connectivity. And it is the one meeting we are now currently having is an example of that. Now, after the depression, we start managing ourselves. That's what is moving on. Now, many people move on at their own because of the past experiences. Many people find it difficult to move on. This move on from depression is predominantly we call resilience of the mind. Now, mind needs a certain set of training, certain set of handling. I'm again bringing to an important analogy. This is my own analogical perception. I need your concurrence on the same. To me, body is like a temple. And brain is like an idol. We have so many idols in Hinduism. So our brain is like an idol, and our mind is like a priest. Now, the mind needs a specific amount of training. Whenever you join a job, be it armed forces or any other job, we give induction and positioning of the mind and training of the mind. Now, during the pandemic, this work-based assignments of the mind and getting interacted with the peers, getting a real life experiences were missing. As a result, the priest, which is providing the direction to the body and mind, body and the brain, was somewhere not working in a proper sphere. As a result, the impact was coming on the health indicators. And one of the major health indicators which was impacted was the sleep. Another was the appetite. Either people started eating more or eating less, and which was also in the form of a depression to some people. Now, at the workplace, as I mentioned, there are so many areas and concerns. Now, one of the major areas of concern which was coming forth is that the non-availability of specific set of people who were already available prior to the COVID or prior to or after the COVID, because they lost confidence in terms of the management, or management lost confidence in the staff, or there was a challenges with reference to productivity, or there was a challenges with reference to the marketing and finances of the company. As a result, many of the people were finding the challenges. Now, to overcome these challenges, many of the enterprises started providing what we call as corporate wellness, employee assistance program. Now, the concept of corporate wellness, employee assistance, employees wellness has been there for a pretty long time, but the actual need of recognition started pouring in during the pandemic to a great extent. Now, let me talk to you with reference to what are currently various organizations like Talk to Angel is doing with reference to creating a healthy employee's family, and healthy work culture by providing certain set of practices. Now, certain set of practices are like organizing and conducting workshops on topics like mindfulness, meditation, practices like the resilience, emotional management, family relationship management, relationship management, and also grief counseling. During the pandemic time, the Talk to Angel was also greatly involved in terms of having a one-on-one counseling 24/7 to the employees and organizations which were looking forward for that. Now, in this, we were carrying out, one was the wellness audit, well-being audit. And in the well-being audit, the organizational culture, the personal matrix with reference to the individual feeling, how he is feeling with reference to his own health, his family health, if there are the symptoms of the loss of sleep or anxiety or stress or depression was coming on, whether that was coming more from the family pressure or individual pressure or from the work itself. What we need to give an analysis for the same, and that's how we call it a wellness audit, which is a part and parcel of overall organizational culture audit or organizational climate audit. Now, here the emphasis is identifying the people who has more challenges. But now the challenges could be made to make more meaningful, providing the directions to the person. And many of the time, as Mr. Shastri was mentioning, that the psychological imbalances are often considered as taboo, or sex, as sex is considered to be a taboo. Similarly, the talking about the psychological issues, whether it is emotional issues or thinking issues or the issues of intellectual disabilities or intellectual impairments or conflicts which are emerging amongst the family member or amongst the employees, or bad mouthing or bad bitching, all those things we do not prefer to dialogue if someone is doing. Now, bad bitching we often do in an organization as well as at the home, which is again not being considered to be a good phenomenon. And there's a And whenever we say somebody is having a challenge, then we consider it to be a big taboo. Now, to overcome this taboo or a stigma, we often need to create an awareness about the mental illness, mental wellness, mental disability, and mental disorder. Now, as any other health component like diabetes, like hypertension, or the neurological stroke, all these are the psychological challenges are also like this, like anxiety, stress, depression, are also treatable, manageable. All of us has some or the other time felt that we are sad, or we are mad, or we are glad, or we are scared. Now, this sadness, madness, gladness, and scaredness often being reflected in any individual. Suppression of emotions, again, is a big challenge. Not expressing the emotions is again a big challenge. Let me ask my dear friends over here, how many of you like a boss who cries in front of you? Anyone can tell me about that by raising a hand? Do you like a boss who cries a lot, or you do? How many of you like a boss who cries a lot in front of you? You can raise your hands.
Cries in the sense that only
He expresses, he cries, he just
only with
expresses.
tears, huh?
Huh?
Only with tears cries, huh?
Yeah, with tears, or all the
Tears.
time he's crying, not I don't have a resource, this is not there, that is not there. He's always a crybaby. How many of you like it?
Most of us, I don't think we will like it.
Okay, and how many of you like your boss who's mad? He wants to get the work done on a yesterday basis.
No one.
None of us.
None of us. And I will cite an example in the, now ragging is being banned. When ragging was prominent, everybody who was ragged, to a smaller extent, it was found that those who were ragged greatly, they themselves were doing more ragging in the third year and the fourth year. And all mother-in-law who were being tortured when they were the daughter-in-law, they become more ruthless. Evidently, most of the cases it is there, but not necessarily that everyone would be like. Expression of emotions in an organization or in the family is not what is respected. We all are trained not to cry. We all are trained not to show our madness. We all are trained to exhibit the gladness, and that's if someone is coming to you, you should express gladness on your face, and you should not be scared. You should not be scared, but scared of what? Authentic expression of emotion or not. We do not express our emotions, and we do ambiguity in terms of expressing our emotions. And what happens when the emotions are not properly expressed? It comes in the form of suppressed emotions, which gets emancipated in the form of anxiety, stress, and depression. A precursor of all psychological imbalances is anxiety. Anxiety is a root cause for all psychological disorder. If we go into a major disorders like schizophrenia, psychosis, the precursor of it is anxiety. Managing an anxiety is an important art, and it requires a practice. I hope you might have read a book called Atomic Habits. That's a beautiful book. In the organizations, we always go forward for the goals and the target. Goals and the target. I need this goal to be achieved on a yesterday basis. and some people are mad and passionate on doing it. Atomic habits is a beautiful expression in terms of a process-based, outcome-based. That if my processes are good, then goals would automatically be achieved. Now, these are the few challenges which happens in an organization day in, day out. Now, when it comes to the creation of a good mental wellness, it starts from you. I will go with the Shankaracharya concept of self-consciousness, Vedanta's concept of self-consciousness. Now, the Atma Shaktam is a song which has been written very well. I will go with that. I am consciousness, I am bliss. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. Without hate, without infatuation, without craving, without greed, neither arrogance nor conceit, nor jealous, I am neither dharma nor artha, neither karma nor moksha am I am consciousness, I am bliss. We all need bliss. I am bliss. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. Without sins, without merits, without elation, without worries, neither mantra nor rituals. I am above rituals, nor experience am I am consciousness. I am bliss, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. Without fear, without death, without discrimination, without caste. Neither father nor mother, neither teacher nor student, neither kith nor kin. I am consciousness. I am bliss, I am Shiva, I am Shiva. I am without form, without figure, without resemblance. Am I? Vitality of all the senses. In everything I am consciousness. I am bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Now this is what is the incarnation which comes to a self. My self is a very important element. Now, when we talk about spirituality, it is beyond religion. When we talk about spiritual well-being, it is beyond religion. It is full of logic. And the logic comes with the consciousness. When I am asleep, I am not fully conscious. All thoughts processes goes in my brain in my mind at the time at the subconscious level. All those unfulfilled dreams, day tasks goes into your mind in the form of an unconscious mind in the form of a dream, which Sigmund Freud did a beautiful interpretation of the dreams, and the dream interpretation varies from the kind of a knowledge which one has acquired. Indian mythology gives a very different interpretation of the dreams. Now, all of us must have a meaning. When we are giving a meaning to a life, that itself is a spirituality. That's why the Sanatana Dharma talks a lot in terms of having a spiritual value. It doesn't talk about that I'm Hindu or I'm this, I'm that. Now, when he talked about Shiva, it means I am conscious, I am bliss. I don't want any kind of arrogance in terms of a knowledge, etc. Now, with that, certain organizations require a mindful leadership, meditation practices. Now, one-on-one counseling because of the inherent challenges which we do not want to talk to others and do not want others to know about us, particularly or emotions or weird thinking or thinking which are not in consonance with the thinking of the organization or thinking of the society. The chaos of the thinking, the theory of chaos, again give rise to the innovation. Now, if those thoughts are not coming and not being put it into a form of practices to manage it, it becomes a challenge. It becomes a challenge. Now, keeping all these challenges at workplace managed, we need to have regular awareness about my emotions, awareness about my thoughts, awareness about my behavior, awareness about my, what I said, consciousness of mind, consciousness of the mind. That is very important. And the coaching, mentoring, or therapy are being provided by people of a different background, with different training, different knowledge where, and organizations have started accepting that it is an important imperative. If I would like to have a great leader, I have to have a mindful leadership program. If I have to have a great team, I have to have a good mental health, which is there right, not right at the individual level as well as at the team level. With that as an important part of the learning, then only we can manage the practices. Now I'll do a simple practice. I will not go into a breath, what we call the major meditative practices. We will start, all of us, I will make a request to do a simple, the first fundamental meditation practice, which I call as a simple breathing exercise. I hope all of you would join hand with me in terms of doing a simple meditative practice. Let's all close our eyes. We'll start a breathing process. Inhale from the nose for 3 seconds, hold the breath for 2 seconds, and exhale from the mouth for 5 seconds. We'll do it for 2 minutes. Let's do it. Please close your eye and inhale from the nose. Hold the breath and exhale from the mouth. Thank you. Thank you very much. This should be done 3 times a day for 2 minutes. This is first step of breathing. During this breathing process, you should feel your breath going in, breath going out. With that later stage, we can follow a bigger or larger meditative practices, which are many of them, and also the mindfulness. Another things which I often does myself and also ask other people to do is a Om chanting. There's a scientific evidence-based approach for the same, that sound energy releases a chemical in the brain, which also help us in terms of a rightful transmitters, but neurotransmitters. Like when you're doing a Om chanting, the word A, it combines of 3 words, A, O, Ma. When we say A loudly, it creates a vibrations in the frontoparietal region of the brain where it releases dopamine. When it say O, it gives a vibrations to our occipitoparietal region where it releases the oxytocin, again known for happiness neurotransmitter. When we say Ma, it goes over to temporal region where it maintains the SSRI uptake. It has been widely reported and experienced by many people. That's Om chanting is devoid of religion. It provides lots of conversion of energy from sound to the imbalances. When we talk about people talking about depression, they say कि chemical का लोचा हो गया है. तो chemical का लोचा को हटाने के लिए हम antidepressant, antipsychotic and anxiolytic देते हैं. Now ये same impact आपकी ओम चैंटिंग से भी आता है, but it takes larger time and it is a practice-based activity. I'll ask all of you to follow with me for 2 minutes Om chanting and be into a stage of happiness. Let's close our eyes and let's start doing Om chanting as a practice. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for giving me a patient hearing. I am really obliged. I express my sincere gratitude. Please forgive me if any of my words, thoughts, or actions hurt you. My intent was to get myself enlightened and get myself into a state of consciousness. With that, thank you very much to each and everyone who are there with me in terms of this cosmic unity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Ji.
much.
Give a
very much.
big round of applause.
So we have about 10 minutes. If anybody wants to say something or, has a comment or wants to ask a question, please feel free. You can just unmute yourself and ask. I think Mr. Jogendra Singh wants to say something.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening,
Hello.
ladies and gentlemen. I'm Colonel J.S. Lamba.
Yeah.
I have a question to Dr. Suri, that after having fulfilled the need of every human being, that is Artha, Dharma, Kama, then you start moving at the age of 75 or 80, and large number of people have been seen that they derive this system of detachment. And sooner the detachment is achieved, the mental wellness improves tremendously. And it is so much so that a person doesn't need anything. A stage comes, you rightly said it, like I am Shiva factor. And it is so very true. So what have you to say if to apply this technique earlier without having fulfilled the needs or desires? They are the driving force which creates all the problem, mental or otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Lambas Kana Lamba. I have nothing to add. You have already added. The question is in the form of good reflection at your end. I am really thankful to raising the bar. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, Dr. Suri, you think that people who are high on EQ, emotional quotient, they, they experience stress and anxiety less than other people who are maybe high on IQ and low on EQ?
Yeah, you are right on that perspective, ma'am. Today, we also talk about WQ and SQ. Now, wellness quotient is an important element wherein you are able to manage not only your IQ and EQ, but also other physical factors, economic factors, as well as the spiritual factors, which Colonel Lamba was mentioning, the detachment. Now, all problems comes in when I start attaching myself to a seat of power, seat of control. During the working, everybody wants to stick to the power, stick to the seat, leadership. that I am one who's doing it. Now, if one takes up the practices of Gita, that I am here only to perform my duty, not be looking forward for the fruit, and following the processes, then happiness would come. Yes, I agree. Emotional quotient is very important, but overall wellness, as I mentioned, the emotional quotient is nothing but psychological health, which also include the IQ. But there are other things which we have all the 5 elements, 5 fingers, 5 health dimensions. All the 5 are equally important at different parts of the life.
Thank you. Right.
Good
Deepa, you have a
evening,
question?
Pratima.
Yeah.
Good evening. And thank you so much, Suri sir. It has been a very enlightening session, though I joined a little late. But I have a very important input to give from whatever I gained. And Pratima, if it is ever possible, I would like to conduct a meditation session for your group, which is known as Sakshi Bhav. And it definitely gives much mental peace and calmness. Within 10 minutes, you would realize that you're really calm. And I have tried it in the school with the most mischievous of the students who really undergone much transformation. But today, what I turned my tuned in for is a beautiful story which I just heard 2 days before we had discussion. So I would like to share it with you, and I think it's very, very important. For organizational wellness, I think it's very important that the leadership is capable and competent, because the mental health or the wellness of the organization completely depends upon the leader of the organization. If the leader is caring, if the leader has a lot of concern and is a great humanitarian, then of course every organization is target oriented. But for that, we should not put the employees under stress. See, and that leads much to depression, because not only we as human beings are dealing with so much stress at home, work pressure at home, but also work pressure outside. See, and if the leadership puts more stress on you and does not try to understand, it would lead to depression. So here I would like to state a story that there was a king, and he was in search of 3 answers. He was in search of 3 answers. So the 3 questions were, what time is the most important time? This is the first question. Second is, who is the most important person? Question number 3 is, what is the most important thing to do? If any of you have any answers, you can share. Otherwise, I would go, continue.
You can share.
But I'll just give you a few seconds to think if you would like to share. It's a very, very important. If we all put ourselves into that king's shoes, we would understand. Just imagine yourself to the king, and then think, which time is the most important time? Who is the most important person? And number 3, which action is most important? What is the most important action? Is anybody willing to answer, or should I go ahead?
For me, Deepa, it is, the most important time is now, the present time.
Right. Absolutely.
And who's the most important person is, I feel it's I.
Okay.
And number 3, which is the most important action, is contribution, helping other people. For me, it is to,
almost correct, Pratima. Thank you so much. So because it's going to be 7, so I will not take much time. So definitely, past we cannot change. Future is unpredictable. Yeah. So naturally, the present moment is the most important moment. We cannot afford to lose it. Right. Second question was, who is the most important person? Now, as a king, if I am the king, for me, the most important person would be my subjects. किनका राजा हूं मैं, किनका राजा हूं, प्रजा का राजा हूं, ठीक है ना? So they are the most important people. For a teacher, his or her students are the most important. For a principal, her staff and the school is most important, the students. For an organizational head, his employees are most important, because he has to get the work out of them. Now the third question. So he has to take care. Take care. This is the action. We have to be compassionate. Sir talked about being spiritual. According to me, not according to me. Actually, spirituality is being a great human being, seeing the same humanness in everybody, being kind to everyone. This is being spiritual. It is irrespective of caste, religion, creed, anything.
Right.
So, and then sir also talked about sex being a taboo. I don't know why, because that was the time I joined. I feel, it is the most misinterpreted word, and it has to be rightly explained, because when we were students, once there was a talk on this topic, and one of the students said, sex is life. How true? How true? Why we have misconstrued it? Why? This is one act created by God, completing the oneness of the man and the woman to continue the life process, the progeny. That is why life exists on this earth. If there was no sex, whether it was in plants or in animals or in the smallest of insects or the biggest of human beings, nothing would have existed. It would have just faded away, died away. Everything would have become extinct. So why it has, why it is not explained in the right sense? So one discussion should be on that too. So and you talked about Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya said, Aham Brahmasmi. He was talking about Advaitavad. Advaitavad means non-duality concept, means I and him are same. We are same. And we are all part of the same. कबीर जी के दोहे रहीम के दोहे में क्या आता है कि अगर घट में गागर में पानी है और वो समुद्र में तैर रही है, घट को तोड़ दिया जाए तो अंदर का पानी और बाहर का पानी सेम है. This is what it is. We are one. We are same. Even this gathering here, we may be looking different. Avaran हमारा अलग है, but basic spirit is same. That energy comes from that one divine source. Paramatma. Atma comes from that Paramatma. So we are those energies coming from that supreme energy, and we are going to merge in that after our karma is over. So this is how I feel, and thank you. I was prompted to speak. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Pritima, for inviting me to this session. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Hello.
Hello. Sorry.
Am I audible?
Muted. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're audible.
I was listening to you, Deepaji, but I got lost. And I'm not able to find myself. I'm interested in seeking a response from the audience and also from the main speaker about a sentence that's there in my mind. The sentence is, I am the creator of my thought, and therefore I am the beneficiary and the sufferer of the same.
Can I respond, sir? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what happens in any of the thought cycle. When we talk about positive thoughts or negative thought, now thinking starts from ideation.
I would like to stop you for here.
Yeah.
Thoughts are neutral. They are neither positive, neither negative. It is my interpretation that makes it positive or negative. Thoughts are neutral.
Thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are either logical or illogical. We give certain logical interpretations to the thought which we create.
It's important. Yeah. Just
we
one
create.
minute. It is not possible for any person to be illogical. That choice human beings do not have.
Well, from my own experiences with the people who has lots of psychological challenges, if you go through the book called Psychopathology of Thoughts by Fish, fish. He talks about the disorders of thought, how thought gets disordered, what are the various types of disorders of thought, like obsession, obsessed thoughts, intrusive thoughts. Thoughts are coming and coming and coming. This room is not clean. This one is not good. That one is not good. Now, once those intrusive thoughts are coming, which are often becomes weird and illogical. Logical thoughts help me to solve the problem. It's a stream of ideas to reach to a goal or solve a problem. Then those thoughts are logical. If I am losing a context, I'm talking right now, India did this, Pakistan did bad. No, India has done this. That's what we call it the flight of ideas. The ideas are flying. Some people have a thought which are circumstantial. They keep on beating and then we ask them, please come to the point here, please come to the point. Now, the flow of thought varies from the individual to individual. The first statement you said, I am a creator of my thought, I am a sufferer of my thought, I am a a beneficiary of my thought, is absolutely correct. Now, that's a logical interpretation. When person is not in a position to analyze analytically, logically the thoughts which are coming, and he doesn't have a control on those thoughts, and he's obsessed with those thoughts. And as a result, obsessed thoughts, he does certain activities and actions which society thinks is not apt or right. He is being qualified as persons having problems. And then misery starts with him and with his family. That's very important, that we have to have a logical framework of mind. Mind is an architect of our brain and body. It's a software. It's a software. How do we create it? How do we adhere it? Now, that's a practice-based activities like mindful practices. If somebody has not been able to get his brain developed effectively, like in the case of intellectually impaired people, their mind is not sharp. They do not have thoughts which are very logical. They are not able to perceive the things in a logical manner. So we are not talking, what you taught, what you speak is absolutely correct. I am a creator of my thoughts. Now, there are many people who are not in a position to create the thought in a meaningful manner and also not able to manage that. Now, consciousness help me. There are three sides. There are three sides which are very important. What we call as foresight, which people like you have. I may not be having. Wisdom. That's a foresight. And another side that we call as insight, which Google Auntie has. Google Auntie has an absolutely beautiful insight, which I don't have. She will tell you which route to go without scolding you. Please reroute. This is the fastest route on your journey. Because you have set the journey, and that Google Auntie helps you in terms of programming your actions. And the third side is hindsight. Hindsight is what I do have a lot. I crib a lot on my past. I have done this, I have done that, I have achieved this, I have achieved that. That creates a sense of imbalances. It doesn't come to realization. I hope I have been able to say and clear some of the doubts.
Well, this forum, I think,
I think we will definitely discuss one-on-one, sir. Very debatable.
Okay. So, gentlemen, it's 7:05 now. I think it's time to close. Unless somebody really has a question and, or a comment to make very briefly. Okay. All right. So we close the session, and now I would request Mr. Shastri
to
Ritima,
give his vote of
Ritima.
thanks.
Ritima, just one.
Yeah.
I'll just take 1 minute. I'll just take 1 minute to, he's talked about thoughts, positive thoughts and negative thoughts. I would just like to say that mind is a bundle of thoughts, and thoughts are packets of energy. So whatever happens, whichever thought is the most predominant results into words, and those thoughts also results into actions. So if we continue with those actions, it makes a habit, and habit makes a personality. So this is why a man is called the creator of his destiny. And Swami Vivekananda has said that you cannot say that if you go into a deep cave and think a negative thought, that it will not reach a person. Yes, it will reach, because thoughts are vibrations, and negative thoughts travel as fast as positive thoughts do.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about telepathy, this is what it is. Sometimes when I'm thinking about you, you will think about me, because the thought has traveled as a packet of energy.
That's
So
right.
man is the creator of his destiny, just based on some thoughts. See, we have been given this choice. It is our free will what action we take. You see, it is our free will. We have been given eyes, what we see, good or bad. We have ears, what do we like to hear, good or bad. We have this mouth to speak, what do we like to speak, good or bad. This is a body for actions. What kind of actions would we like to do, good or bad? It is totally our choice. Excuse me, there's somebody at the door.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you so much, Deepa. Right. Okay, so over to you, Dr. Shastri. Shastri sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. It was indeed a very enlightening session, full of deep thoughts from the modern science. Dr. Suri talked about the WHO thinking of, adopting mental or holistic wellness as a matter of right for the people. Then he beautifully mentioned about the Patanjali's theory that mind is the controller of everything. Patanjali says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Then he also beautifully brought in the Nirvana Shatakam of Shankaracharya, that is Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham Nacha Shrotra Divye Nacha Prana Sangyo Nacha Vyoma Bhumirna Tejona Vayu Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. That Vedanta also he touched upon. And then there was a good commentary by Deepa ma'am also. She talked about Sakshi Bhav, because unless, if we indulge, Lord Krishna in Gita says, Padma Patra Mevam Bhasa. That means one should work without the desire for fruit, just like the Kamal ka patta or pani, साथ में रहते भी हैं और separated भी हैं. That example was given by Krishna to Arjun. So that kind of doing the things but still remaining unattached, that was touched upon by Deepa ji. And I really thank all the esteemed members from the audience, like Dr. Aditya Muna. I think he has left now, but he had joined from Mumbai. Mr. Ravi P. Ojha, Mr. Kailash Bagaya, Mr. C.N. Kumar, Colonel Ashok Ghoshal, Colonel J.S. Lamba, Mr. M.S. Madan, Dr. Mamta Mahapatra, Deepaji, and all the members who joined this session. They spared their time and they took part in this very important discussion, because the unfortunate thing about holistic wellness, or in particular mental wellness, is that unless somebody suffers, we tend to ignore it. But it is a integral part of our lives. जितना important हमारे लिए food है, जितना important हमारे लिए work है, जितना important हमारे लिए दूसरी चीजें हैं, ये उनसे भी सबसे ज्यादा important है. But unfortunately हम लोग इसको taken for granted लेते हैं, and in the end we land into a state of suffering. So therefore it is very important to pay equal attention to mental wellness also, and it is the integrated approach, that is body, mind and spirit, which Dr. Suri talked about. He talked about the Pancha Tattva and everything. These are very relevant things, but somehow we are tending to lose sight of all these things. But it is good that now the attention of the people is drawn to such important things, because अगर हम मनी हमारा ठीक नहीं रहेगा तो क्या करेंगे? जैसे वो राजा का एग्जांपल उन्होंने दिया मैडम ने, करोड़ों की दौलत लेके भी अगर मन में शांति नहीं है, if we are not mentally well, everything is worthless. So with these remarks, I sincerely thank Dr. R.K. Suri for his enlightening talk. I, on behalf of entire managing committee of our ISTD Delhi chapter, led by our chairman, Mr. Mukesh Jain, and other colleagues on the committee, thank all of you from the core of my heart, and keep joining such evening sessions from time to time, and give us motivation to come forward with similar talks which are of relevance, which are of importance. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Dr.
Thanks a
Sastry.
lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sastry, for welcoming everybody and giving vote of thanks also. Thank you very much, and thanks to Madam Pratima, Sucharita ji, Dr. Suri, and Alok ji. Thank you very much. I'm indeed obliged with the kindness of Dr. Sastry. Thank you very much. Thank you, madam, for organizing such beautiful
And,
programs always.
Most
one
welcome.
more important thing, the creative which is circulated to all the members before the event, that is always, through the courtesy of Miss Jain, the daughter of Mr. Mukesh Jain. Pallavi Jain, I think.
Pallavi Jain.
Pallavi is always helping us in designing the creative for the event. So
Yes.
special thanks to her also.
Yes.
She is sitting here on the, she is sitting beside me.
So can we see her on the screen?
Let's have a look at her.
Oh, great.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. Thanks a lot. You were
My
really
pleasure.
helping us.
Always happy to make it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good,
God
good.
bless you.
Thank
God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you everyone for being
Thank
here.
you,
Okay,
ji.
good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Till next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mukesh sir.
Thank you.